All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and this is episode number 29 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. 2 days early, 3 hours early, but my good friend and Jeet Kune Do colleague, Helana Cauliffe, was gracious enough to accommodate me today. So and I'm checking in 5 minutes early just so hopefully by the time, hey Victor, if anybody was going to be watching this one, I knew it would be Victor Jadu. Welcome. So I've sent the invitations out to her. She's just 45 minutes north of me in Coral Springs. We shouldn't have any internet do flickies and what have you. So I just came in a couple of minutes early to hey Suli, hi Dylan, came in a couple of minutes early so that hopefully at 12 noon everything will be bang on. I see Eric Warner, I think it's Eric Warner, we just became Facebook friends. Suli Welch, November is coming up. I have a whole list of people that I'll be inviting oh yeah, Victor just reminded me, as you guys are logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, and also hit the like button so that Facebook does the what do you call it, the algorithmic relevance, and they figure, okay, these guys in the Jeet Kune Do world are doing something that everybody appreciates. So we're just waiting for Miss Helena to accept invitation and come on the camera with me. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I think I have everything. Hey Tim. Hi Randy. Ed Stahl. David McDonald. Welcome everyone. Yeah, if you guys just go ahead and hit the like button when you get in. And because I don't know the inner workings of Facebook, but apparently they appreciate when that happens. So go ahead and do that for me. And so while we're filling time, come back at 3 o'clock if you can. We'll be doing hey Nick, we'll be doing the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast at 3 p.m. We'll be talking about the value of drilling, which is kind of a carryover from last week. Michael Appleton, welcome. So that's at 3 p.m. And then on Friday at our regularly scheduled time for the, hey Leo, regularly scheduled time for the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues, Heaven Mondi will be on the program with me. And some of you guys might remember Eleanor Academia Magda was supposed to be on last week or the week before, but she's got some stuff that came up. So she'll be on, she confirmed with me yesterday, she'll be on first weekend in November 2nd. Hi, Ibrahim. All right, so yeah, so we're just waiting for Ms. Cauliffe to accept the invitation and come on. We didn't test the technology, but we did discuss the technology, so we shouldn't have any mishaps. And what else can I do to fill the time while you guys are looking at this face instead of her face? What else can I tell you? Okay, so let me see if I can pull it up, just so you guys. So I'm gonna read a list of people that I am hopeful will one day be on the Dialogues program with me. So I got it organized all alphabetically. So there is Andy Kimura. What, Suli? That's a good question, Mr. Welch. I don't know. I have a whole set of Bruce Lee T-shirts that hey Mr. Willis, hey Mr. Holloway, I've got a whole bunch of T-shirts. So I really don't know where I got what from and what have you. When you're as old as I am, Suli, you know your wardrobe dates back way back. Okay, so let me tell you about people. Andy Kimura, Andy Wilson, they're both out of Seattle. Hey Greg Wilson. Blaze Loon. Some of you guys we talk about Blaze a lot. Bob Breen in England, Bob Carver in Canada, Brenda King. I tried to get Brenda King on the show during the month of October, but she's tied up with a bunch of stuff. Bud Thompson, who is one of Sifu Inasano's oldest students, dating back to way back. Cass Magda, of course. Charles Chai, my colleague up in New York. Chris Kent. Christopher Clark. Clay Johnson. Cookie Vasilu from Australia. Damon Carroll. Daniel O'Hara. Daniel Sullivan. Dave Schrank. David and Linda Hatch. Diana Inasano, I don't know why she's in there because we already did that one. Maybe we should do it again. Dickie Harrell, Don Garin, Drake Ritchie, Ed Stahl, Eric Charles. If we can swing this one, this would be really, really spectacular. Fran Joseph Poteet, Sifu Francis Fong out of Atlanta. Freddie Jin, who is another old-time Kali Academy student. Jason Hawkins, Jason Wilkin. If we can swing this one, Jeff Imada. If I can swing this one also, Jeff Jones. JJ Dallo out of Michigan. If we can swing this one, Joel Clark. JD Daniels, John Rister. Keith Allen. I was supposed to do a dialogue with Keith Allen, but I think I messed up the dates on that. So I hopefully he'll accept my apologies and get back to me on that. Hi, Mark. Larry Lindenman, Levon Martin, Mark McFan, and the list goes on and on and on. All right, so we are now coming up on 12:03, and I don't see a response from Ms. Cauliffe as yet. So hang on one second, guys. Let me see if I can. Maybe it's my fault. Nope. Hang on one second. Yep. Yeah, the invitation's sent, so she might be having iPhone issues on her site. Hey John, hi Dave Schrank. I just mentioned your name, Dave Schrank. So okay, there we go. Hang on one second. Okay, add in. This better work.
Did I do it?
You did it, ma'am.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it.
All right. So, everyone, welcome to episode 29 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with my good friend and colleague Helana Cauliffe. So one of the there are many great things about her, but one of the great things is that I think that her insights into running, she runs one of the most successful JKD schools around the world, and so I think that her insights will prove invaluable, and I'm excited to talk to her. But first, before all of that, do you have that picture I asked you?
You know, the pictures are on my phone. And I'm on my phone, but I might be able to pull them up on the computer while we're talking.
So. Okay, well, no, I wanted you to show it to our audience, right? Anyhow, okay, but first, right? So, does anybody know who that is? In the middle. Okay, I'll give them a few seconds to see if anybody knows who that in the middle is. Do you know who that is? You don't, do you? I'll give you another shot. Anybody?
I know what movie it is.
Huh? You know what movie
I know what movie that is.
Yes. That is the actress Kate Klugman. Now, I need you to dispel the rumor because Kate Klugman did one movie and then disappeared. I think that she reinvented herself as Helena Osansky?
No. No.
Okay. All right. Well, enough of that rumor, right? So, have you done any that ancestry thing on your original last name, that Osansky name?
No, I haven't.
No,
Mm-mm.
because it's not
Like
that.
looking up your background?
Huh?
Like you mean looking up your lineage
Yeah.
and your background?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
No, you've never done that. Okay. Um, what it tell me if you agree with this. It said that if you really want to understand what's going on in any given situation, you should talk to the women involved in the situation.
I agree with that.
Okay, good.
To a degree. I got to put that part in. To a degree, because I know some people are watching.
All right. Okay. So let's go to before martial arts. I really wish you had that picture because that picture speaks 1,000 words. So tell everybody the picture I'm talking about.
The picture of me in the good old days. I was in an all-female rock band.
Classic.
Didn't you see us? Oh no, that wasn't you. I thought you might have seen us play once.
No.
I think that was Professor Salem. Now that I'm thinking about it.
What year was that?
Oh gosh, 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. See, I think my first.
Mid-80s.
Yeah. Well, you started martial art training in '89.
89.
At New York Martial Arts
Neil Collis, New York Martial Arts Academy.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So if the rock and roll was before that, then I may not. But did I meet you in '89 at the Queen's College seminar?
No, that first seminar, Sifu Neil had the first seminar with Guru Inosanto in New York, in the city, in the state, I believe.
Right.
That first seminar was right before I started, so I was not there. I was there for the second one.
Okay. That's like Greg Nelson. Greg Nelson started in '83 after the CMAA camp where I met Rick Fay. He started with Rick Fay when Rick came back home from California. Okay, so '89. So can you remember your first class back in 1989?
I remember my introductory classes.
Okay, what was?
Do you remember Luis Martinez?
Uh-huh.
Luis gave me my intro course. I think at the time it was 3 lessons or 3 classes that you took before you joined the actual program. Luis Martinez took me through those classes. And so I do remember those classes, and it was very interesting because at the time there were no women at all training in that academy. None.
Yeah.
I was in. And so for a while, thank you, sir. My dog walked in and opened my door. They actually, I'll just go ahead and say it. They took bets on how long I would last.
Really?
Really. Somebody gave me 2 months. Lewis gave me, I think it was 3 or 4 months, but that was about it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well,
they were convinced I would be out of there within the first few months.
Well, I think it's an understatement to say you proved them all wrong.
I would say so.
Okay. When so before that, no martial art whatsoever.
Very informal Wing Chun training with a friend of mine out in Long Island, but nothing formal. He would just show me some movements, and we would practice certain things, but nothing formal.
Okay. Is that because you were adamantly pursuing a music career, or the girl band thing? I mean, what?
Oh, the girl band thing was just fun. It was a lot. We thought we were going places, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Yeah. At that time, it was in between. I was in nursing school, going to college, and things like that. So
right.
The band just was a lot of fun.
And you
at the time.
And you played guitar. You weren't the drummer, right? You played.
No, guitar.
Okay.
The funny thing is, the girls are still playing.
Really?
The girls that I played with are still playing together as a band. Yes.
Oh my God. That's that's pretty cool. I
It's
mean,
pretty cool.
but yeah, but and they're still in New York.
Yes,
Yeah,
all
well,
of them.
see, because New York is a real city because it's a city that can provide employment for musicians of any genre. Not like Miami. Miami, there's no jazz in Miami. You know,
Really?
we no. I gave up years ago. Years ago, I dropped all that stuff. Okay, so you just mentioned nursing school and college. Um, how do nurses? Because is it national where nurses do this crazy 3 days on or 24 hours on and then 3 days off thing?
It depends. It's just a different kind of shift work. That's all. 12-hour
Yeah,
shifts, 3 days a week. I'm
and
sure
you
they have
and
that pretty much everywhere.
okay, and you did that for how long? The nursing thing,
16 years.
15, and you did that and martial art.
Yes, martial art was the only thing that kept me sane through nursing school. It was the only outlet I had. I had zero social life. I had zero any life besides work and school. I had two full-time school, a full-time job, and a part-time job. So
Wow.
martial art was the only outlet, the only socialization, anything that I had at the time.
Yeah. I was going to ask you this because it's on my list of questions later down about percentages. So, what percentage today, 2018, what percentage of your life is martial art?
Oh boy. You mean training, teaching, running the school? What aspect of it?
In, I mean,
All consuming.
right. Okay.
Yes.
So pretty close to. I mean, you got to sleep and you got to eat, right? But
Right.
it's not like 75% because 25% of you is deeply involved in something else. Is it?
No,
Okay.
not at this point. No, I mean, it's our business, it's our life, it's what we do.
Yeah.
It's getting to the school, running the business, training the staff, training the students, making sure that I stay in shape, and all of that. It's life every
Yeah.
day.
What do you do to stay in shape?
I go to the gym, I weight train, I train martial arts, I do cardio.
So this morning I was in the park working out at 6 a.m. Where were you?
Walking my dog, getting ready to go to the gym at 7 a.m.
Oh, is that what's your is that the Australian Shepherd?
He's a border collie.
Right, yeah, yeah. That's the best dog in the world. One day we'll tell him the story of that I saw that dog in action. So okay, so and it's 12 noon. We're gonna be on here for about an hour. So at 1 p.m., what happens in your life on a Wednesday?
Generally on a Wednesday, I'll have lunch, I'll walk my dog, I'll go into the academy, I'll get on the phone, start making phone calls, lead follow-ups, different types of phone calls to people that maybe had an appointment, didn't come in, calling students, kind of putting all the loose ends together for the day, having a
Mm-hmm.
meeting with my team before classes start to make sure things go well for the evening, training students, conferences, upgrades, enrolling people. That's how
Yeah,
it works.
yeah, and that goes up until what time?
About nine, between 9 and 9:30, depending on the night.
Okay, depending on the night. So that 9:30 ending schedule, that's not Monday through Friday.
Mondays and Thursdays, our classes end later. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we're out a little bit earlier.
Okay.
Fridays as well, and we have Saturday mornings from 9 to 12 that we have classes in the morning.
Now, is that schedule designed thusly to aid in the retention of sanity?
Well, partially for that, and also because we added specific classes on those nights, which brought the time a little bit later. So Sifu's Kali classes are on Mondays and Thursdays. Our high level training classes, our black belts and close to black belt level is Mondays and Thursdays. So
Mhm.
we've added some class times to those particular days. So we run a
Mhm.
little bit later on those days.
Okay. Now let's dial it back some more. Um, how did you end up on staff? Because you were on staff at NYMAA, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so how did you end up on staff?
I don't know. I really don't know. I was training,
Right.
just training like I loved it. I remember being there constantly. I must have been there every day, if not at least 3 to 4 days a week, if not every day. I fell in love with it. From
Yeah.
day one, I just fell in love with it. And I was there constantly. And then Sifu Neal at one point put together what he called the SWAT team,
Mm-hmm.
which was a team that he was putting together to learn how to assist and instruct and so on. I remember there was a gold. Remember the gold shirts?
Yep.
Yep, it
Yep.
was the gold shirt. And one day I walk into the academy and there's this gold shirt up on the wall, which was never there before. And he didn't say anything about it. It was just the gold shirt. And when we asked him, he would just say, "Oh, you'll see." He kept it up there for a while. Wouldn't tell anybody about it, what it was. He was just piquing interest. And
Right.
then when I found out what it was, I was all about it. And I said, I want that. I want that extra training. I want to know about that. I want to do that. And so the SWAT team really was for people that were at a level, I guess, and Sifu was going to teach us how to assist.
Yes.
And from there, it just, the funniest thing is I was on the SWAT team. And then one day, Sifu had something to do. And he looked at me. He goes, "Okay, go start the class."
Oh.
No training at the time. I said, go what? He said, "Yeah, you can do it. You've been here long enough. Go start the class." Okay.
Okay.
I wish I had video. I wish we had phones in those days to shoot a video because it would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
my documentation. Of course, from there we got a lot better.
Right.
Instructor training processes and things like that.
Yeah. Wow. You said you fell in love. What what aspect or aspects of the training did you fall in love with?
For me, the physical aspect of it got me first because I was always athletic. I love to push myself physically. So that part of it, the challenging part of it too, it was a challenge for me. I was terrible. I was so terrible when I first started. I could not
Yeah.
grasp the concept. Yeah, yeah, I was. So
Really?
the challenge, the physical part of it, and honestly, it was for me, and as a female, I think some of the ladies might be able to relate to this. It was a sense of empowerment,
Yes.
a sense of strength and confidence that you just don't get anywhere else. Or that, at least for me, I have not found that in anything else I had ever done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that grabbed me right away, all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Here's
just
why
environment too.
I disagree with you on your performance level. Did you not learn Kempo karate in order to be an instructor for the kids' classes?
Okay. Yes, I
Ah,
did.
yes, exactly.
At one
Right.
time, yeah.
Yes. So you can't fool me with that I was terrible thing. No. I
Okay. You can ask my husband about that one.
no, we don't need his opinion on anything. um, so that whole the Kempo thing. Curriculum design. What's been your input over the years at what was first New York Martial Arts and then what became American Dragon? What's been
Big
your
difference. I mean,
responsibilities in curriculum development?
in New York, Sifu Neal had the best curriculum, bar none, going on. It was everything that Guru Dan, the Guru Inasanto, had taught, but Sifu Neal was able to break it down into teachable sections so
Mm-hmm.
that he had an actual curriculum base, a curriculum laid out. Week one, we work this. Week two, we work this. Week three, we work this, so that students can actually put it together and learn on a schedule rather than just coming into class and working whatever was happening that day.
Yeah.
For most people, like for you and I, that type of learning is great. But for a school to be successful, Sifu knew that in order to teach the incredible type of martial arts that we were teaching, there was some organization needed. So when I first started, there was a structure to the curriculum, and it was still hardcore training. It was trained the same exact way Sifu learned it.
Yeah.
When we moved down to Florida, the area that we moved into was a lot of families, young families, kids. Kids. We never taught kids. Jeet Kune Do is not kids.
Right.
How do you teach kids this stuff? So, in order to make the school work, Sifu Neil took the adult program, and I created a juniors program, a kids program based on Kempo karate, which was Sifu Neil's first art, the first art
Right.
that he ever learned. So he taught me because that at the time was easier to teach kids.
Yeah.
The process of the forms and the movements. For children, it was easier for them to understand and easy for them to get the benefits of the martial arts. So for kids, we would teach the confidence, the discipline, the focus, and the movements of the martial arts. And for the adults, Sifu really kept that exactly the same as we taught in New York. And as time grew, I realized that in order for us to be able to make instructors, I couldn't be teaching an instructor Kempo and Jeet Kune Do. It wasn't working. So we slowly morphed our curriculum into everybody now learns Jeet Kune Do, even the kids, but the kids learn about that much compared
Mm-hmm.
to the adults who have a full curriculum. So we give the kids maybe a quarter, if that, of what the adults are getting for their junior ranks.
Yeah. Well, so you talked about the structure of curriculum for students as opposed to the way that you and I and Sifu Neil would have trained with Sifu Nasano.
Correct.
And now, so is it the people who need the structure or the people like us who will take anything that's thrown at us? Which of those two groups suffers from ADHD?
I think we all suffer from ADHD, honestly. Everybody who's involved. I think it just depends on how people learn and how people relate to the martial art. I mean, I enjoyed it so much. I was having so much fun with it. I didn't care. Just teach me something.
Yeah.
I'll learn it. Rank didn't matter to me. Moving up a level didn't matter to me. It was just, I enjoyed the process. I enjoyed being there, working with the guys, being under instruction, working with Guru Dan, meeting him, meeting you. The whole lifestyle was what drew me to it. I didn't care about all the other stuff.
Yeah.
But there are people that are like that but need a structure for learning. Otherwise, if they don't feel like they're making progress in something, they give it up.
Well, what's your response to the claim that ADHD isn't real, that it's a made up affliction?
I don't think it's made up necessarily. I think it's way overdiagnosed. I think there are a lot of people, especially children out there, that are diagnosed with it that do not have it.
Yeah.
And now, experience as a nurse. Now, remember, 16 years ago, I was a pediatric intensive care nurse. Worked with kids for 16 years.
Right.
Worked in martial arts, teaching kids now over 20 years. In all my experience and everything I've ever done working with kids, I will tell you that 90% of the kids who came to me with a diagnosis, I believe, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say for in a diagnosis, but in my opinion, did not have ADD or ADHD and did not need to be on medication.
Right. But you literally wrote
certain things can help them. Yes.
You literally wrote the book on dealing with ADHD, didn't you?
Well, I wrote a book on it, yes. Maybe not the book, but a book.
Uh-oh. Hang on.
Technical difficulties? So are you.
All right, hang on, guys. Let's see if this clears itself up. Okay. Wave if you can hear me. Okay. All right. Carla says everything is fine on her side. All right. Okay. All right. So if you can hear me, let's just yeah. Yeah, that's her.
Oh boy.
So did we suffer from ADHD when we were kids growing up?
I don't know. I mean, for me, um, I always had a hard time concentrating, like especially in school. I could never sit in a classroom and focus. My parents were always being told that I just daydream and I couldn't really pay attention. Not for lack of intelligence, but I was bored at the
Yeah,
time and I was always needing to do something. I always found that I learned in an environment that kept me moving and active.
yeah.
Even in nursing school, the 3 hour lectures were torture for me. I did very poorly in the aspect of the classroom studies,
Mm-hmm.
but when I was in the clinical environment, I thrived, all A's, because it was active, it was hands on, and it was actually utilizing. So I think, in answer to your question, it's possible,
Yeah.
but I don't think ADD, ADHD is what it was. I think it's just that people learn differently. They have a different level of energy. Some people, it could be a dietary change. Some people just need structure. I mean, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
People learn differently, and that's what teachers have a challenge with these days too, with kids, because they have 20 something kids in the class and they can all learn differently, and you can't modify how you teach to each individual child in a classroom setting. It's very difficult, whereas we can in a martial art class.
Okay. Explain that. Explain why we can.
We can, because when we teach, they're not sitting there at a desk listening and learning that way. Some kids can do that very well. They're moving. We're teaching them in motion. While they're moving, they're getting their energy out. We can focus them on a specific task that's fun. It's entertaining them, and they're learning. They don't realize they're learning. They're just having fun doing it, like I did. It's
Yeah.
so much fun. They're learning, and they don't realize they're learning. And so when you see a child 6 months later after they first started, and you say, wow, look, they made so much progress because they were enjoying the process, having fun, and they can sit in my classroom in the martial art academy and focus. They can
Yeah.
focus on us. Why? Because it's entertaining and they're moving, but they're learning as well.
So, have you mastered the ability to combine what they need to learn and what they want to learn?
I wouldn't say mastered, but I'm getting better at it all the time.
Well, what's the
And for
secret?
adults too, I will tell you. What's
Yeah,
that?
what's the secret to that? Teaching what has to be taught, but also teaching what they, because there's always that dichotomy. What they need to learn is not always what they want to learn,
Right.
right? So what's the secret to getting a good blend of those two elements?
You make it fun. You make it challenging. You praise when they do well. You correct as they go through it. And there's a reward system at the end, possibly, whether it be recognition, which is what we use a lot of. We use a lot of recognition for the not just the kids, the adults too. It's all works for adults too. See, people think, oh, adults should have all that. Well, they should, but they don't
But the,
always. So, hey, adults like recognition. They like to be told when they've done something well. Okay, so it works all around for everybody. You have to make it fun. You have to make it challenging. They have to be challenged with it. It can't be easy.
yeah.
It has to be something that they can feel like they've achieved. At the end of every single class, they need to know that they've achieved something in that class, that they learned something new or they got better at something in
Yeah.
order for them to want to continue to come back. So does that answer your question?
Well, yeah. See, because what you're talking about there is something that I think they don't tell you when you first start to entertain these ideas of teaching martial art full time. They don't tell you have to become a psychologist.
They don't, well, whoever they are, I don't know, but yeah, we're not told that at all. It just happens. I think not just psychiatrists, psychologists, we're behavioral therapists. We are, everything that you could possibly be to the students, to the parents, to the adult students. I mean, people come, they talk to me about personal things because they feel like they can,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
you have to find a balance too with that too, because
Yeah.
otherwise it can get a little out of hand.
Yeah. So in doing the research for dialoguing with you, I thought that I would ask you also about Asperger's. But here's something funny. In Microsoft Word on my computer, when I typed in Asperger's, it didn't recognize that word. Is there a stigma somehow attached to that?
There could be. Asperger's is a form of autism. It's on the spectrum of autism. Uh, People with Asperger's generally are highly intelligent. I mean, highly intelligent. Their issue is mostly socialization and understanding how to connect with people and how to socialize with people in a way that we're used to in our society. Put it that way.
Okay.
They can learn
So
like anybody.
okay. I'll give you two hypotheticals, and you tell me if how you would diagnose this individual. So let's say there's a guy who takes the number 73 bus to train one of his clients at her house. And he notices that on that bus route, more often than not, there are 3 buses assigned to that route: 5173, 5175, and 5177. Now, is there something up with that guy? Because he's probably the only person who notices stuff like that. The bus route number 73 is handled by bus number 5173,
Is anybody
5170.
else lost? Anybody else lose him a while ago? I have no idea what you're getting at. What are you
Okay.
getting at?
No. Nothing. Forget about it.
Like, what is going on? I'm trying to follow you.
Okay. I'll give
Maybe
okay,
you do
I'll
have
give you another.
ADHD.
All right, here's another hypothetical. Let's say that that after class, you and Sifu Neil and 8 other people go out to the pizza place. So there's 10 of you sitting at the long table. If there was somebody there who had the idea that all 10 people should be in one conversation at a time, would there be a diagnosis for that person?
I don't think so. I think that person
Okay.
might just want to have everybody talking at the same time. I wouldn't say diagnosis. No.
Well, okay. All right. Good. It's just a hypothetical. I don't know anybody who's like that.
Okay, you sure?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah. So let's go back to why you are one of my heroes. So we talked about it. You're, like Levon Martin in Sarasota. So you learned the Kempo in order to contribute better to the academy, and she did the jujitsu and Okinawan karate stuff to do the same thing, contribute to her school with her partner. The thing is that, so you, Diana Inosano, Sarah Badat Richardson, Tammy Williams Timlin, you guys have successfully navigated the murky waters of relationship and work, personal and professional. Right? So,
yes,
it can't be easy dealing with those types of men.
you're treading on dangerous ground here. You know that, right? What type of men are we talking about, Dwight? Come on now.
Well, these
You mean martial artists?
JKD, yeah, who have
JKD guys,
their
okay.
ideas, right? They have their ideas about how things should be done and about how people should be, right? They might
Yes,
not
that
be
is.
naturally as, yeah. So what's a secret for dealing with them? Like, for example, let's say they lack empathy.
Got it. In the training, right?
All
Get
right.
poked in the eye. It's okay. You
Yeah.
got another one. Yeah. Well,
Yeah. So
let's put it this way.
what's the
I
story
grew up in
behind
that
that?
environment. I grew up in that martial art environment where you stepped up and you train like the guys and you train like everybody else, or you don't train, period. There was no empathy. There was no feeling sorry for anybody. The guys said, if you're going to train, you're going to train like one of us, and we're going to treat you the exact same way in the beginning, which I think I benefited from tremendously because it taught me to be strong. It taught me to be tough. It made me the martial artist that I am. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
And once they realized I can hang with them, they kind of adopted me, and now no one else can mess with me, just them, type of thing. But I think the men in the JKD world, especially from back in your day, back in my husband's day, Dan Timlin and everybody that you're talking about, there was a certain expectation and a level of training that just, that's the way it was. And they're right. The guys are right to expect that level of training. That's what it is. The challenge comes with, okay, you're opening up a commercial school, and it, depending on what you want to do with it, if you want to have just a small place where people come and train and they pay a minimal amount and you do it for the love of doing it and it's not your primary source of income, great. You can keep that philosophy to the teeth. If you are trying to run a school or a business commercially that's going to support you, your lifestyle, your family, right, provide for you, you have to make certain adjustments within that process to make it work for the general public. The general public, in case you haven't figured it out, Dwight, I hate to say it, but it's true. The general public doesn't like to work hard. They don't like to train hard. Have you had this experience in your school where people come in and they see the level of training you do and it's just too much for them?
Yeah.
Right. So we had to put it into a process where they wouldn't do what we did to get to where we are. Now, there are some people like Carla Arce who's listening who train as hard as she does. And I know there's people that are listening and watching today that have no problem taking it to that level. In order to be successful in the business part of it, you have to modify things down, just modify the chunks in which you teach, which is where the curriculum comes in. So a lot of the guys who came up in the old ways have trouble doing that, which is where I think, Sifu Neal was a real pioneer in that, because him and Dan Timlin, they were two of the first that I know of that actually were willing to put their curriculum into small chunks and make it structured in order to teach it. So kudos to them for that open mindset to be able to do that. But there was still that challenge of level. You got to train like this. You got to train like this. You got to train like this. And people don't train like that on mass levels. So I think it's a very hard balance to achieve. You have to be strong in your partnership. You have to be strong in marriage. If you're married, you have to really be able to understand both sides of it. And both sides have to give a little. And honestly, over the years, and what we've done to an extreme where it became a little too much commercial and not enough hardcore. And now we're going back to being more hardcore like we had been prior.
Okay.
In our training and expecting a certain level out of the students.
Yeah. I realized something about you, and when I say you, I mean the two of you. In the pursuit of professionalism, you guys over the years have associated with several or a few to several of the professional martial art business organizations. But here's what I noticed about the two of you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. You end up not just being members of that business organization, you guys end up becoming coaches or instructors within those organizations.
Some of them, yes.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Well, how how does how does that come about? Because most people join and they're just members. You guys join and end up being contributors.
Well, we have been blessed to be able to do that. Some of the organizations that we were working with saw the value in the level of the Filipino martial arts that my husband has achieved, and they wanted to incorporate that aspect into their curriculum. So they had Sifu as part of their process to teach the Filipino martial arts to their instructors to help them to learn how to teach it to the students at the higher levels. Another organization also did the same thing with the Jeet Kune Do and the Kali. So my husband would give them what they call their after black belt curriculum, so to speak, and
It,
would teach them and train them and go and travel around monthly to help train the instructors and the higher level ranks
yeah,
to be able to implement those things into their after black belt curriculum, because a lot of traditional martial arts schools don't have an after black belt process.
yeah.
And
You know,
so
when you use that phrase after black belt curriculum, did you ever hear the 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 expression that Jeet Kune Do is your postgraduate studies?
I've heard that,
Or
yeah.
so, yeah, right.
Yes.
That's interesting. Um, Two things. You just touched on one of them. Tell me about your experience with Filipino Kali. Your first impressions, your lasting impressions.
My first impressions were, this is the coolest thing ever. I watched the guys training at Sifusu, because when I started pretty much with the JKD, the boxing and the empty hand stuff. Um, I was there a short time, and then I watched the Kali class, and I was just blown away. I was fascinated. So the first thing I did, what did I do? Sifu Neil at the time was offering a private lesson package of 10 Kali lessons. Private package. I took it. Put sticks in my hand, never swung a stick before. And again, I had like two left hands. I was trying, I could not grasp the concept of what he was trying to get me to do. So I took the lessons and then I practiced incessantly. Just practice, 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 practice. And then about 2 years into my training, I had the opportunity to participate in a Dosi Paris tournament in New Jersey.
Ah, okay.
So okay, let's see how this goes. And we had some inner school tournaments first to prepare for that. So I participated in those. I competed with some of the guys in the academy as well. Did okay with that, and so we went to the tournament, and that was my right after that tournament. I was just hooked. That was it. I loved it
Yeah.
more than the Muay Thai. I loved it more than the JKD. It grabbed me.
I wanted to ask you about the Muay Thai also. When did you test, and who held the pads for you? Do you remember?
Yes, I do. 1996. My feeder for my first round was Amy Tucci, rest in peace, and the second round was Rick Tucci. Yeah, Amy and Rick. Amy was one of those people. She just was one of my role models in the
Yes.
industry back in the day, and it was an honor to have her hold pads for me on my test, because I
Yeah.
think she was already an instructor, and there were very few women instructors at that time in the Muay Thai.
Right.
So in fact, I was the first one in New York State
Oh,
to be certified in Ajahn Chai's program in New York. Um, and Amy held for my first round, and Rick Tucci held for my second round.
okay. Was this so was Ajahn Chai at their school or at your school?
Our school, a New York Martial Arts Academy. Rick and Amy came up from Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So over the years in New York, you guys brought Sifu Inasano, Paul Vunak, Paul DeTours, Cass Magda, um,
Ajahn Chai,
Ajahn Chai,
Professor Salem.
Salem Asli.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I missing? Because there's a ton more.
Burt Richardson.
Burt Richardson.
Burt Richardson. There's more. I just can't think off the top of my head.
Yeah. Do you think
Oh,
that?
Larry Hartle.
Oh yeah, I was there with Rick Fay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Rick. Yeah, Rick. Me when I back when I was this big, held.
I have pictures of that, when you were this big.
I know.
But your fro was this big.
Yeah, and I held tie pads for Rick Fay, right? And these were the old school tie pads with the buckles, right? I
Yes,
still
I
have the
had those.
scar. Yeah, I still have the
Hmm.
scar in my chest from when he hit the buckle and cut my chest open.
Yeah. Good old days, right?
Yeah, the good old days when you were told, "Oh, you got to meet my brother."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neil comes to me and says, "This is my brother Dwight." I took a double take. My first thought was he must have been adopted. I thought he meant literal brother.
I know, I know. have you done independent research into the arts for your own edification?
A little. Not as much as I probably should have. If I had questions, generally I went to Neil. He pretty much was able to answer questions for me, or I spoke to Guru Dan when we saw him, or to yourself. I really, I think, went more to the people and Lavon, people in the industry
Hmm.
to answer the questions for me.
Yeah. Um, the when you were talking about the Kali thing, have you seen? Oh gosh, I should have. I just thought of this. Have you seen the TED Talk? I don't remember the guy's name, but it's the guy, Cognitive Kali. Have you seen?
No,
You
I
have.
have not.
Okay.
No, I'll have to look at that now.
Yeah, I'll send it to you because what I wanted to ask you is, in your pursuit of Kali expertise, did you ever have an experience where you felt like it it made your brain grow?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
Even still
yeah.
now, yes. I believe that Kali training can have major effects on people with Alzheimer's, on people with neurological disorders. I've seen it. I've seen kids and adults who have neurological disorders put a pair of Kali sticks in their hands and suddenly they are coordinated
Yeah,
because it works both sides of the brain. It works the upper body and lower body. I think it's phenomenal. I think we should try to get the Filipino martial arts and the medical field and neurological medicine somehow connected, because
yeah,
I think that the Filipino martial arts is tremendous for the brain. Absolutely.
yeah. Well, in my dialogue episode with Rick Fay, he talked about that. He is of the. I'm gonna try to find it here because I don't want to not. Paul McCarthy. That's his name.
Paul McCartney,
Paul,
like
no,
Paul.
Paul McCarthy.
Oh,
John
McCarthy.
McCarthy. Yeah, Cognitive
Yes.
Kali. So I'll send you when we wrap up. I'll send you the links for it.
Great.
Right? Yeah, because everybody has talked about it, and I don't know how much further he's gone with it. Um, so what about? Okay, Carla just put up a link. She's, her last name should
Well,
be Ace because she is at this stuff. I swear, right? Um, is there anything from nursing that you have retained that you brought into your martial art life?
yes.
Like what?
Patience. Patience. Not like the patient in the bed, but patience with people.
Yeah,
Teaching, um, the way I speak to people. In nursing, there were times where I'd have to talk to parents and give them bad news,
right.
or talk about sensitive subjects.
Yeah,
And though that I don't give too much bad news in the martial art, but when I talk to people about reality of where they are in their training and life. And sometimes they come to me for advice, and I'm very direct with them.
Yeah.
It taught me communication. Yeah, the communication I learned as a medical professional and how to talk to people and relate to people absolutely comes through.
What about when the parents say, I don't want to I don't want to force my kid to do, you know, because I'm sure you get that a lot, right?
All the
So
time.
okay, so what's a strategy for dealing with that?
Okay, well, Dwight, I understand you don't want to force them. Do you force your child to brush their teeth? Okay, do you force them to go to school? Do you make them go to the doctor? Do you make them do the things you know they need to do every day to be healthy and strong and successful? Well, this is no different. You came to me because you wanted your child to have more discipline. You wanted them to be more focused or more confident or whatever they came in for. You're the one who has to force them sometimes to come to class because this is what you know they need. Sometimes they'll enjoy it, sometimes they won't. Sometimes it's going to be a struggle, but you got to continue to bring them because 9 out of 10 times they get through that and everything is good. But if you allow them not to do something because they don't want to, it forms very bad habits as they get older.
Okay.
So
What do you say to the kid when the kid says it directly to you that it's not,
they say
yeah, go ahead.
that he's not what?
That it's not fun anymore.
I ask him what fun is. Well, what would be fun? How would it be fun for you? 9 out of 10 times, you know what they say?
What?
To get a stripe or to be up front or to do more jumping jacks or it's something like silly that would make it more fun for them. So guess what? We say, okay, you want a stripe? You have to earn it. This is what you can do to earn it. If you do this, you can earn a stripe and things are good. And guess what happens? They do that, they earn the stripe, and we move on. Generally, it's little things like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's legitimate where there's really, some kids are just not meant for it. Some people, it's just
Mm-hmm.
not for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I find that that's really the case, okay, then they don't have to continue coming. But you don't not force a child to do something because they say to you, "Oh, I don't want to,"
Yeah.
right? Especially when they're 4. Any 4-year-old that can make their own decision.
Right.
I really don't.
Yeah.
If they're 13, 14, okay, it's different, but
Yeah.
not at 4 or 5 years old. It's our job as parents to guide them in the right direction and make them do things that they don't necessarily want to do.
Yeah. Now that you mention teenagers, you've got a superb group of teenagers at American Dragon. Um, how did you do that? Because most people probably think that teenagers today, they're obsessed with the social media and they're not interested in anything of value.
They are obsessed with social media. Even my kids are, even the
Really?
students I have. But when they're in the academy, that's not allowed. And so we created an environment within our, first of all, most of these teenagers started younger and they grew up in the school. So they started at 7, 8, 9 years old, and now they're 14, 15, 16. So they've stuck around for a while. We do
Yeah.
have some newer kids coming in at that age too. And what happens is they form a bond and they come to the academy to see one another. So the
Yeah.
training is there for them and they love the training. 50% of that is they get to train with their friends and they form a bond and they hang out together outside the school. They come to classes together. So it's really a community for
Yeah.
them. And so as long as we keep it fun, entertaining, and challenging, as I said before, in the training, they'll want to come back to see their
Can you
friends and to work
right?
out.
Can you think of an occasion in which you learned something from a parent of a student that you had not previously thought about or considered? Has that ever happened?
Sure it has. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but you know, we don't know everything. As a martial artist, as an instructor, as a business owner, as Guru Dan says, if you stop learning, you stop growing, and then you're dying. You're going backwards. The Penn Decker would say the
Yeah.
same thing. And so for us to think that we have all the answers, ridiculous. We understand our environment. I understand the environment in the school, how our students are learning, how they're progressing, and I know the process. I'm sure at some point there has been a parent or a student that has said something to me that made me think and rethink some of the things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Off the top of my head, nothing's coming
Okay.
to me, but I'm sure when I get off this call, it's going to come to me, like it always does.
That's why there's always follow-up episodes.
There you.
What about for yourself? Can you think of something that spontaneously happened? So nobody else is involved. It's just you doing something or thinking something, and you go, "Oh, I never thought of that before."
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Again, I'm sure, but I'm drawing a blank.
Okay.
On that answer, give me 2 minutes on that one. I'm sure I'll come
Yeah,
up with
no,
something.
because if our roles were reversed and you had sprung that on me, I probably wouldn't have an answer either. You know.
So why'd you ask me?
Well, because you're smarter than I am.
Oh, okay. Is that what they tell you?
Come on. Yeah.
I know I'm gonna come. I know it's gonna hit me as soon as we get off this call. I know it. I should have said that.
Right. Okay. So let's start to wrap this up. You said that martial art is pretty much the total percentage of what you're doing. I'll ask you a traditional question. 10 years from now, what are you doing? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what are you doing?
I see in our future taking this team that we have, letting them run the everyday process in the academy, running the business aspect, running the classes, teaching the students. And my job and Sifu's job would be to train our team to continue to do that. Because, you know, Sifu's been at this, my husband's been at this a long, 45 years maybe? Something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I've been at 1989, and there's going to be a point in time, like in anybody's life, where we're going to want to just enjoy our time.
Yeah.
Not give up the martial art or the business by any means,
Right.
but be able to enjoy it the way we want to, let other people benefit from our experience and from what we've been able to accomplish, and allow them now to take it even further than we did.
Yeah.
So I see being involved, still teaching our team and guiding them to teach the students and to keep the school moving and going.
All right.
And then just traveling and enjoying life.
Okay. Thank you for doing this. I know you got to walk the dog, and then you gotta get ready for.
Yeah, he's sitting here at my feet. What's that?
Yeah. All right. So thanks for doing this. I really, really appreciate it. I think that people will find a lot of value in your wisdom, and I mean it when I say you're smarter than I am. You've done a lot of things that I only dreamt about doing.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me to do this. You know, with some of the other people, especially some of the other ladies that you've had on your program, I am honored to even be in the same setting as some of those ladies, and I appreciate your trust in me and your value in our friendship. Always good to talk to you.
You too. All right. Well, say hello to everybody. Give everybody my regards, and we'll do this again soon.
Will do. All right.
Okay.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That, my friends, is what you call a special person, a special lady. All right, so that was episode number 29 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with Helana Cauliffe of American Dragon Martial Arts in my neighbors to the north in Coral Springs. Come back at 3 p.m. and we'll do, I think it's number 48 of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. And on Friday the 19th, regular time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, episode number 30 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with another great lady, Heather Mondi. And I think when at the beginning I told you that Eleanor Academia Magda is confirmed for Friday, November 2nd. I don't have a confirmation for my Friday the 26th guest yet, but you can be sure it'll be somebody fantastic. So that's it for today. I will see some of you guys back here at 3 p.m. for the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast, and then I'll see some of you on Friday with the I Love Jeet Kune Do dialogues. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.